In the meantime, back here at home, GM is one step closer to exiting bankruptcy. This as the auto giant continues to struggle with a very tough economy. We're going to talk to the vice president of a website called LeaseTrader.com on why he's actually seeing a boom in his auto business. We're on more auto news in just a moment as the vice president of LeaseTrader.com is going to join us to explain how his business is booming thanks to people looking to get rid of their autos. Details when Money for Breakfast returns. While Detroit's automakers continue to battle a tough economy, it's the downturn that has meant an uptick for one auto business. John Sternal is the vice president of LeaseTrader.com and joining us from Miami. And with me in our studio is Andrew Carchia, a LeaseTrader customer. So, John, how'd you do it? Why are things working out for you now?
Well, it's pretty simple. You know, there's a lot of people out there, as we all know, dealing with this recession. And we've all heard stories about the foreclosures and the housing situation. But, you know, a lot of people realize is that the car payment is typically the second highest payment for an average family. And you know, we're sitting over here, and there's a lot of people with leases who may have picked up a lease when times were good. And, you know, it's kind of a high car payment. And for those people who are kind of trapped underneath that high payment right now, we're giving them an option through LeaseTrader.com that lets them simply get out of it.
How does it work?
Well, it's like a matchmaking service, really. You've got somebody that wants to get out of their lease. They post the vehicle details with pretty pictures of the car online. And then on the flip side, there's other people who are browsing the website for free that are trying to, that have interest in taking over one of these short-term leases. And we pair the two parties together and then walk them through the transfer of the process.
So how did you come up with this idea? Did you get stuck in a lease that you didn't like, or do you think you have a knack for matchmaking? How did it come to be?
It actually was born out of a personal experience. The CEO and founder was leasing a BMW and had about 10 or 12 months remaining on the lease. And, you know, he went back to the dealer that originally sold him the lease, and they said, well, you know, if you want out of it right now, you could break the lease. You'll have to write me a check for $14,000 today, but I can get you out. So, you know, he left the dealer saying, no thanks, there's got to be a better way, and he set out and created LeaseTrader.com.
There you go. That sounds familiar, doesn't it, Andrew? Someone has a BMW that they don't want.
It's very similar to what happened with us.
So describe how did you find LeaseTrader and what made you use them?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a victim of the economic downturn. So
what do you mean by that, victim?
I lost a considerable amount of salary, so it was difficult for me to pay the car bills.
Okay, so you decided you have this car, a BMW, and you do what?
I contacted BMW, and they actually recommended LeaseTrader.com.
Oh, they did? Because one of my questions for you was, why not go back to the dealer that leased you the car originally?
Most of the time, the dealerships and the leasing companies, once the lease is set, they really don't want to work with you. You can tell them that you're having a hard time, and they'll say, well, you know, we feel bad about that, send us a check. But they will give you the option of getting out of the lease if you can find somebody qualified to take over the lease, and that's how LeaseTrader takes over.
So you went ahead, you went on the website, you put your car up there, and then how long did it take for you to actually get matched up?
It took, I was contacted by this individual within about 3 days. And from start to finish, it took about 2 weeks.
Now, John, does Andrew have any liability? What happens if the person he gets matched up with, I don't know, isn't screened or doesn't have the qualifications to take the lease? I mean, is there a liability for Andrew in any way once he starts this matchmaking process?
Well, everybody's got to check their contract to make sure that their leasing company allows for transfer. But LeaseTrader.com has some things in place that prevent a lot of those problems. First and foremost, we pre-check the credit of the incoming buyer's status so that, you know, when people like Andrew are first contacted by somebody, they know right away that the incoming buyer has the credit to take over the payments.
And so, Andrew, how much did this help? You went from paying what on a lease on a BMW to now what kind of car do you have and how much are you paying?
I downsized to a Toyota, so it was a savings of about $500 per month.
You like the Toyota?
Every time I go to the gas station.
As much as the BMW?
I missed the BMW, but for now it worked out well.
For now. If you had any advice to John, being the vice president of this company, what would it be?
You know what? They're doing a great job. They walk you through every section, each step, They're actually familiar. I know they were familiar with the BMW and how the process works. So they walk you through all the paperwork. Did you receive this? You should be receiving the next paperwork within a few days. And right down the line, they help you until it's complete.
Now, John, you mentioned BMW for the founder, and Andrew also had a BMW. Does this work better with certain car companies over others?
No, we've got a wide range of vehicles. You can find virtually every make and model on the site. You know, leasing tends to skew a little higher towards the luxury and higher end vehicles, but you'll find every kind of car on our site.
So you did 45,000 transactions last year. How many do you think you're going to do this year?
We're projecting, and we're on pace to handle about 60,000 nationwide this year.
And so do you get paid per matchup? Is that how it works? How do you guys make money?
Well, it's a fee for if you're someone like Andrew and you want to get out of your lease. It's $79 to post your vehicle, and then at the time of transfer, it's an additional $149. And on the flip side, if you want to take over a lease, it's $39 membership, which also covers the cost of a credit check, and then also $149 to at the time of transfer for the incoming buyer as well.
Sounds like it was a good option, Andrew.
It was an excellent option for me.
All right, Andrew and John, thanks so much for sharing that. It's nice to get a different story out of the auto sector. Appreciate both of you coming in today.